Hey everyone, update for Joy today. We sort of felt like, well, one of the things that showed up was we need to do some affirmations for health and well-being and trusting and deserving health. So Mum said, bloody oath. So let's, I'm going to stack these little guys in. Okay, I release any emotional trauma and regain my health. I release any emotional trauma and regain my health. And hold. And the brain doesn't believe that. And hold. Immune system's happy with that though. And let's check celestial circuit as well.
You saw the
Just for fun.
celestial circle?
Mm-hmm. Don't we all?
I know, I had chakras last night.
And hold.
That was yoga. I can't remember what my
And
chakras
hold.
were doing.
That one's third stage stress. So
What?
So third stage stress is chronic fatigue of your emotional trauma. So there's still something in there that just is driving crap in the background that we need to release. Yeah, just something. And I think it started in 1984. No, only joking. No, you know, COVID 1984.
COVID wasn't in 1984.
It's all very Orwellian. I'm being funny.
I never read that book. I thought the arsehole.
Well, we actually went to the, there was a stage play a couple of years ago with it. It was very, it was very dark and bloody and...
I really think that urine tan might have been that sort of thing too. But
yeah, right.
other people thought it was, and I told Michael, Joe's kid, put it on, he was the director. And I told him I thought it was absolutely horrible. He said, why? And I said, well, it was basically a Nazi Jew camp. Except that instead of killing them off for being Jews, you're killing them off because they didn't have a penny to use the public toilets, because all of the public, no one had toilets at home, you all had to use the public toilets, and if you couldn't pay, well, they sent you to urine tan and no one ever saw you again. I said, clearly they were going to,
do something dodgy.
Well, something like Nazis did with the Jews, got rid of them all. But
which is why that legislation in Victoria is such a worry to me, because if...
I was probably the oldest person that really, there were enough people came back from the war to know that the camps had existed.
Yeah.
And I still went to school with uni with people who were white Russians who were still escaping from Russia for various reasons, and I worked and went to university with various people, Italians and Lithuanians and Latvians, and of course some of them were on the stations when I was a kid that had all come from the war-torn places, and the ones from Lithuania and Latvia and Estonia. They'd certainly told us about, even though they weren't Jews, they were still for some reason or other put into camps and still had to, I think they were all made to have showers, and they were all terrified of showers because of what was happening to the Jews. But they actually really did have showers, except they had to walk 4 miles or something through the snow, and have a hot shower and then walk back again, so they'd clean and think, through a foot of snow, and you think, yeah, all right. Needless to say, the walks
Nice for the health of the humans.
Yeah, right. So, and I mean, we probably didn't even hear about that. We probably more or less, but certainly, Mum and Dad and Gary Minnis Narcotis and his wife. Their children were born here. There's actually a castle narcotis in one of those places. I found it on a, quite by accident, I found it on a map. When I was in Canberra, I worked with Jen Bellens, who had been the Chancellor, Vice Chancellor of the University of Estonia, Lithuania, or Latvia. Those 3 places were little places stuck together, very close to each other.
Yeah.
And he came out here and he had to work like everyone else. If he came to Australia, he had to work for the Snowy River scheme for so many years.
Oh yeah.
But he was working as a clerk in the Commonwealth Public Service when I met him. And he sat in the seat in front of me. And sometimes Commonwealth public servants didn't have enough to do, so we spent a lot of time talking to each other. He might have been my boss in some areas. Margaret Horgan was my boss in some areas, and there was another little man that used to be the ambassador of where they had the orange gorillas, the red
Oh, Borneo?
yeah. Was it Singapore or Malaysia? No,
Okay. Can I just stack this one in again?
stack me up.
Stack me up, Scotty. I release emotional trauma and regain my health. And hold. Oh, that's better. Good job.
Second one would be found like
No, because I switched it off. So it's supposed to be locked, it's supposed to unlock, it's supposed to lock again. So it did exactly what it should have. Okay, and the next one. I am committed 100% to improving my health. I am committed 100% to improving my health. I'm committed 100% to improving my health. And hold. Hold. Not a lot going on there. Hold. No, you're okay. Your brain is exhausted at the commitment to looking after your health. It's just, there's nothing there. Energetically, your conscious brain's going, no, I'm not. I know I'm not.
Maybe it's only 99.5%.
Well, let's actually ask just for fun. So is it 90 to 100%? Is it 80 to 90%? Is it 70 to 80%? Yeah, right, that's not too bad. But 80 to 90%? 70 to 80%? Yeah, so it's around 70 to 80% committed, so that's not too bad. You know, there's the whole 80-20 rule. Although I think with cancer you should be aiming more for the 95% just quietly, but nonetheless, that's not too bad. That's good. Now, once again, commitment in relation to regaining health. And hold. 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 Oh, okay, so there's an energy mismatch. So in relation to that commitment, there's some stuff your brain just doesn't recognise or agree with, and it's like your brain just goes, nah, not going there.
Well, my brain doesn't understand it. You get told that all of these good things will help you. You're told that this catacetabine will help you, and
Yeah, the toxic crap, big pharma stuff.
and the tough and I don't care what brains I use. It wouldn't make a fishing net that would bloody keep the minnows out. Or the in. Like they didn't keep the frigging sharks in it. Meshes so bad. Oh, I really think a minnow was actually Gilligan's ship, wasn't it? I know a minnow was a little fish, but I think the minnow might have been Gilligan's ship when you got back from the island. You used to watch that every week. You should know the name of his ship.
What was it?
Oh, I didn't watch it every week. I was probably cooking dinner.
Reticular activating system. Okay. So this is in relation to commitment to your health. So the RAS is the part of your brain that focuses on something and decides what's important and what isn't. And therefore it changes your hormones depending on what your brain believes is important or what isn't. Yeah, okay. So what your brain's doing is when you're thinking about your health, it switches off your feel-good hormone. So there goes your serotonin. That doesn't help your gut because we make 70, 80, 90% of our serotonin in the small intestine, where, by the way, we make crap loads of our melatonin. I didn't actually know that till the other night. I was listening to a podcast on melatonin. Melatonin's your sleep hormone. So we make, compared to what our pineal gland makes, we make 300 times more than that in the intestines. So when we don't sleep well, our gut isn't working
I
properly.
knew my gut didn't freaking work.
Mm.
Like a bloody,
And
what I take
people so people who
reflux permanently.
yes, so he was actually saying that with people with reflux, there's no way they sleep very well, yada yada yada. So he was saying that sometimes giving melatonin. So these days you can get a script from your doctor or just get it over the counter, or you can order it online from iHerb or somewhere. But
From the chemist, I think.
yeah, so get it, and then just start with tell me what dose it is. But just start with one at night and don't stress about the dose. And then the next night do 2, the next night do 3. Just see if there's anything. Because in Australia we've got stupid laws with how much you're allowed to take. So the amount you get per packet, they're pretty small amounts. So I think the ones over the counter are maybe 3 milligrams or maybe 5 milligrams. I take 10.
10 tablets of 10 milligrams.
Well, I take 10 milligrams and I take, depending on how badly I've slept because of pain, I might take 4 or 6 a night. Because I get no side effects with it, so I'd rather the melatonin be in there because melatonin is anti-cancer, melatonin's good for the gut, melatonin's good for all sorts of things. It's good for immunity, it's good for pineal action, which is very much about immune system and anti-cancer stuff as well. Anyway, I did know that about melatonin and what your brain's doing in relation to the commitment about your health. It's you're assuming that you're never going to get to do fun stuff ever again. So it's like your brain's gone, take away the fun hormones or the calming hormones and activate the vigilance. So every time you're not allowed to do something that your brain wants to do, that it pisses you off exactly, it's creating vigilance in the nervous system. So the brain's on the lookout for what you can't do.
Got me so pissed off when we went to the dance the other night. I mean, I get a bit pissed off because Doug doesn't dance
But this is
anymore.
more about the Rona, isn't it? And
no,
the stupidity.
Not necessarily. This was we got there and they, for some unknown reason, they just wouldn't let me get anywhere near the ramp. There was a space. And Vicky came out and said he'd park my car for me. I'm not going to park it. And so I said, I didn't want that. I wanted to park next to it. He kept telling me he'd park it. Wouldn't. And I said, can't I park here? Why can't I park here? Are you not allowing me to park here? Is there some reason? No reason, no reason. Rhonda Green put it on Facebook after I said the treatment that I got and we just went home.
Yeah, right.
From Timrockham Hall. Arseholes. Anyway, Rhonda Green said that they were, he said, I don't know why it would have stopped you getting into the hall because at the back of the hall where people didn't park anyway, they're planting trees for koalas.
Right.
And Rhonda Green is the head of Wildlife Australia in Red Desert Branch. Anyway, so I found out from her why, but where I wanted to go was nowhere near where they were planting trees. It was just near the bloody ramp. Doug's 90, you know, 6 weeks or something, he'll be 92, I think, that's not owned.
Hold out.
I don't think that it's unjust to expect a 92-year-old person who's the oldest person that's going to be at the dance should be allowed to park near the ramp. I couldn't see that should have been a problem.
They're just being asses.
Well, I knew his wife was an ass.
That one was...
I don't like little 10 gods, I can tell you.
Yeah. That one was internal negativity due to thoughts that just stay in your brain and they just can't get out. And that's because of unresolved stress. You know, it's like any decision is better than no decision. And with 20 months of BS on the planet,
And
you know, it's sort of like no one can make plans.
Being told lies and being punished. I've been having a lot of trauma about my mother because she used to punish us all for someone would do something naughty, and God help us, on occasion she sent us to bed without our dinner. And to this day I probably don't know who did what that shit her off. No doubt it would have been me, I'd have probably owned up. But really, if I'd known, but sometimes when she started yelling, you just think, your bloody brain shut down, you just have no idea what she's bloody talking about.
Yeah.
But I know that we didn't get sent to dinner, bed without dinner very often. But sometimes she'd set you to bed at 5 o'clock and you couldn't have a book, you just had to lie there. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I never did that. Carl was telling me the other day that she can't believe when she talks to other people about the life that they had, the life that you lot had, She said everybody else's mothers and fathers and things sort of, you know, were much more bloody bossy. And I said,
Stack this in again. I am 100% committed to my good
I
health.
am committed to my good health.
I am 100% committed to improving my health. And hold. That's better. Hold. And that's supposed to happen. Hold. Beautiful. Yeah. No, people, yes. People are pretty funny. So So other people are more bossy than you guys were.
Well, she said, and then I think that you tell a story and you say that Mum did this or that, and she said, I made sure I was never going to do that to my kids. Like, if I sent you to bed, I think you're always allowed to have the light on and a book, weren't you?
Oh, I just sneak out the window anyway, so it doesn't matter. Did I say that out loud? Yeah. I deserve to be healthy. I am worthy of being healthy.
If I'm Madonna, I deserve to sneak out windows.
Well, apparently I did.
Sorry.
Everyone was doing it. Is how it felt in my little world, anyway.
But they weren't actually. The only other people that snuck out were Boys Town boys, weren't they? Did you ever meet anybody else downtown?
Well, yes, the people we were meeting.
Who were they?
The people we were meeting. I don't think it was Boys Town boys. That doesn't ring a bell at all. Sadness, despondency, depression. Yeah, right. You know what the deserving's about? You know how you're pissed off that you've done all these things for your health over the years and you tried to get mammograms yearly and your doctor told you weren't allowed and you had to do it 2 yearly instead of 1 yearly.
That didn't piss me off, that pissed my reader off.
Well, you were pretty fucking pissed off about it 2 years ago, just saying. But anyway.
Ah, right, okay.
Yeah, so when you know, because you've tried, you knew the family history, you tried, they said no. It didn't occur to you to go and just pay for it, which you can do. Probably wouldn't have occurred to me either. But I think I've said to you, there's another test. I'm going to ring up and book it, so I'll let you know when I do it.
For who?
For me. So there's another scan that doesn't give you radiation. Because every time you're doing any scans and stuff, it's adding radiation to your body.
I'm
It's
having
more
so much
stuff.
radiation there, I'll be able to light up the world soon.
Bloody excellent. Light up my life.
I'll
Yeah,
never
so
pay.
yeah, so it's more stuff your body has to detox, obviously, which is why the Livton and zeolite and stuff like that, you know, keep things kicking along. The other thing was
The thing in the fridge is nearly empty. I can't remember what it's called.
probiotics.
Oh, that sounds about right.
Okay. So when do you get the bracket test done?
It may be happening right now. I only posted a letter yesterday. They probably wouldn't start analysing the blood until they got the blood test.
Oh, okay,
I
cool.
think that's all it was.
Right.
One that you've seen. Because they've had a lot more shit on than usual because that was for the
They
bracket
did
gene.
have more stuff on it.
That one was specifically for the bracket gene. And the
Oh.
Desert Hospital refused to give me the regular one for the PA hospital because that had everything plus more on it.
Right, because I did notice, and this will be a side effect of the capacetabine, once again, within range it was okay, but your neutrophils and lymphocytes are both down about 30%,
Meaning?
which means you've got less white blood cells to fight infection at the moment.
So what do I do for that?
Well, that'll be where the zinc, the beta, the beta's one of the powders, the beta, there's a Betamax, I think it's called, the Betamax, the Repairase, which is the orange one, or the orange or yellowy one that's got quercetin and lots of vitamin C in it, and the zinc and C, your zinc, so all of those will be boosting the immunity. but it just lets us know that the capacetabine is destroying too many of the white blood cells, or it could be shedding from jibby-jab people around you, because
say that again.
you know, the transfaction that's happening with people around you of being
Yeah.
jabbed. Yeah. So part of it could be that, because your immune system's having to work harder, because, you know, you're a hugger. You're going to hug people.
Yes.
Because I've got people who are getting all sorts of symptoms when they're around people who've been jabbed.
However, I'm reasonably certain that hugging does more good for me than the jab would be doing bad for me.
Absolutely, totally agree.
Because hugging is one of the things that keeps me going.
Boosts oxytocin, serotonin, absolutely. I am worthy of being healthy.
Bloody earth I am.
I deserve to be healthy. And hold. And hold. Beautiful. That's supposed to happen. Good. Okay, here's one. I release genetic conditions affecting my health. I release genetic conditions affecting my health.
What on earth does that
Oh.
mean?
Well, BRCA's a gene. Well, BRCA's not a gene, BRCA's a test. But, you know, but it's finding if you've got a gene that is linked to breast cancer. But as you know, just having a gene doesn't mean anything. We still have to activate the gene. And in order to develop cancer, we need to activate at least 22 genes on your dad's side and 22 genes on your mum's side. So, and then even with the tumour, only about 1 in 1,000 cells are actually cancerous. Your body's actually trying to protect you from the cancer tissue.
So what I need is a cow to get in there and lick my lungs off and get all the liquids off. They're pretty catching tongues.
I'm 100% happy, healthy and well. I'm 100% happy, healthy and well. And hold. Hold.
What was that doing?
It's saying I don't think so. Survival switching, deep survival. Okay. Hold. Right, so the genetic stuff. We've had 40 years of doctors telling us if it's in your genes, you're screwed. It's not true, but they still haven't changed their dialogue yet. You know.
Well, actually, they haven't always told us that, but with the HLA-B27, they said it's just there, and it means that you could get this. You could, not that you will. Or maybe that was because I had Chris Tracy Patty when I found out about that. She told you stuff that it mightn't have always been.
Because one of the guys I like listening to is a doctor called Dr. Bruce Lipton. And he's a funny old bugger. He's about, I don't know, 60, 70 years old or something. He's got this squeaky little laugh when he talks. And he talks about when he first found out that the genes weren't set, he was considered a crazy flat earther in the medical industry. Because until that time, everyone believed that you've got the genes, you've got the genes, you've got the genes. Genes are in the family, you're going to have a heart attack. Your genes are in your family, you're going to get stroke. Genes are in the family, you're going to get dementia. Genes are in the family, you're going to get obesity.
Well,
and he was one of the first
we
ones.
We haven't got the genes for fatty. We might be obese, but we don't get fatty. Yeah,
Except for Glor, but she's got a whole different set of genes added in there as well.
Jimmy said that if the Trace and Glor probably have got dementia.
Yeah, oh, Trace, definitely. At the very least, she's evil, so. Okay, so now I'm going, so part of this one, so,
But he
because
said that with their
fear of failure,
if they're drinking,
mm-hmm.
a few other things.
Hold out. So that's fear of failure in association with health. Because, you know, like you've said, every time you get a big fat whack on the head, it's like, man, I don't need another one, don't need another one, don't need
I
another
need my
one.
mouth to be able to not laugh. That's just me. That terrified me.
Yeah.
And I got a terror, and if you get a terror system in front of Margaret, Marita, Tom and Mari, but I wouldn't have found it if they hadn't have been there, because no one would have been telling me to smile and smile properly for the photo, so I wouldn't have found out.
Yeah,
So,
interesting, because you would have thought you were smiling.
oh, probably wouldn't have taken much notice. I'd have just bloody had a cup of tea and finished my crossword puzzle and
Fear of failure. And hold, beautiful, fear of success.
how did Judy get out of Melbourne?
Hold out, she got an exemption.
I thought she would have got a plane directly to Brisbane.
That's what they were telling her she was supposed to do. But,
They wouldn't
know.
have her on a plane if she wasn't jabbed.
yeah, and so it'll be, I don't know, it'll be interesting to have a chat with her. Obviously, not a lot you can say on
No.
phone or messenger at the moment since, things are being listened to, watched, monitored. But it's like Val and Michael going to Jordan. And an activist that I know is down in Mexico. He was in Brisbane a week ago.
An activist for
Mhm.
no jabs.
Good side.
Right. Ah.
For humanity.
I'm glad the French have always been rather. They've had enough shit put on them, haven't they, being occupied by bloody Germany and everything else that they happen to them.
Yes.
I recently read Corrie ten Boom's book about them being put in the Nazi camp they weren't put in the Jew camp, they were put in I don't think it was the same camp. There was another one for evil people that weren't Jews that were being hiding Jews.
Oh, yeah. So this will be like people hiding the unvaxxed.
That'll be it.
And doing
I'll have-
shopping for the unvaxxed.
I'll have to go and get some false walls in my
We'll be
house.
the great unwashed,
I'll
yeah.
have to go and put some false walls in my house to hide them in.
I'll have to get up into the roof and find out, right, how can I make this fun? Yeah, what can I put up in here? Yeah. I release any and all genetic conditions affecting my health.
I don't know what that means. Does
At
that
the
mean
very least, we're reducing stress associated with any time medically they say stuff that you have no control over. Because they just say stuff in the medical world, which is fine, but a lot of the time, it's not real helpful.
it's not? Doug was so angry.
I am
Hey,
happy,
doctor.
healthy and well. Yep.
We nearly changed doctors because he told him he was fine to stop him having his licence back. And that's when we asked you about the exercises for legs.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know what he was doing because I'm bloody sure he didn't do the exercise for the legs that you suggested.
Mm-hmm.
He might have. But
Oh, anything's better than
he
nothing.
didn't let Carmel and I know about it, but we obviously did something because he passed with no trouble at all. And the doctor not only told him, A, that he thought he shouldn't be driving anymore because he had a day when he was probably feeling crook and was a bit wonky. And you can't be picked on for the day that you're feeling wonky.
Exactly.
Anyway, but he told him he wouldn't, that he needed to think about giving up his licence because they thought about it all right and nearly went down to punch him in the nose, but we decided against it. We thought we might go and change doctors, but we weren't sure there were any others that were.
I mean, if he was driving the middle of Brisbane City, I could see that. And we have idiots driving down in the middle of Wynnum who really shouldn't be driving. But I know, but it's such a sleepy little.
But you're far better off to be able to drive than to sit in your house and shoot yourself because you can't do anything.
Yeah.
I did make him get rid of the gun when I wasn't having a gun in my house. One of his brothers got his gun.
Can get it put in the will for me.
Not ours anymore, we gave it to somebody. Barry probably, because Barry was on a property and used the gun. I think the gun was so old it probably would have killed some bastard if they used it. It was a pretty old gun, I gather.
One of my clients lives out near Toowoomba, and there's a property out there where you can go deer hunting, and and they're all just they get overrun, so it's actually for the government's deer population. So anyway, I'm tossing around, learning some skills.
They do have small guns and big gun things in Bad, is it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where else they have them.
Oh, shooting ranges?
Yes.
Yeah, there's one over on Old Cleveland Road.
Ah.
Oh, that's just clay shooting, which is my...
Oh, well, obviously, you don't need to
Yeah,
shoot.
no.
You don't want to shoot real animals all the
No.
time. That'd be nasty. And I think you're a bitch.
Well, I'm happy to go to the butcher and buy it, so it's a bit hypocritical if I, you know...
But I still don't want to go around killing animals.
I'm a meat eater, Mum.
I worked at the meatworks. That doesn't mean
Yeah.
I want to go around killing them. I see it as a big leap.
Let's just say we don't know what's going to be happening over the
Oh,
next
I know
1 to
that.
3
I know
years.
that too.
So I think skill is good.
I know how to pack them. And I would know how to do the bleeding of them and things from, like for sheep, from going back when Dad killed one every week.
Bit of success.
We used to play with the guts. I mean, obviously, you know, I'm not, I don't think I'm a real shrinking violent.
Now let's check in relation to any and all toxicity associated with the capecitabine. That's your immune system. Let's go check your organs.
Organs behave.
Mm-hmm. Circulation. Hold out for me. Okay. Hold out for me. Okay. Okay, there's your any and all capecitabine. And again, hold out. Hold out. Small intestines. Hold the leg up for me. Hold the leg up for me. I mean, if you think about it, being in the small intestines, not necessarily a bad thing as long as we keep it moving, because if your liver's detoxing it, it has to go down into the small intestine to be removed from the body. When neither of them are working because of reflux, heartburn, tumours, anything like that, then it can go from the small intestine back up into the liver, back down into the small intestine, and just keep this delightful little
So what are you telling me?
trickle going. These are the organs without any supplements that are still struggling with the capecitabine. What's it been, about 10 days or something?
Yeah.
So, okay, so in relation to so just picking up the small intestine energy as well. Means if it's going to be somewhere, being in your circulation isn't a bad thing. It's better than being, and this is the first two organs I've found so far, but you don't want it deep inside the body in the bones because it could cause tumours in bones. You don't want it deep inside organs because the body could create a tumour around it to protect you
Did
from
Mona
it.
have them in her bones? Because that shed lumps. Laura Bergman had them in her bones.
Right. It's a common side effect after a lot of stuff to do with cancer.
Breast cancer.
Well, particularly, yeah, but it's because the toxins of the drug are so big that the body wants to hide it out of the circulation and go hide it deep inside the body. So to me, it's not a bad thing that it's in the circulation.
Father Ganser certainly had it in his bones, but I know that Father Ganser, since he was single and a priest,
Yeah.
and he would have preferred to live, but he decided that he was happy to go on some of the things that he tried were in the testing stage.
Okay.
There's a special
yeah.
word for that.
Relax. That's it. Hold trials.
Yes.
Yeah. Hold up. Sort of like, the Rona vaccines.
Well, he was happy to do it.
Although this chickie babe who was on the one who worked for Gavi and World Health Organization and UN and everyone, she was saying
My
last
legs
night.
should be fine. We did a hell of a lot of this last night.
She was saying that if it was an actual trial, and everyone knows it's a trial till 2024, But if it was an actual trial, there would be proper placebos. There would be a proper placebo versus jibby jab thing. There would be, you know, proper follow up. But as we know from just in our little world, people are being told nothing's to do with the jabs. If they are getting side effects afterwards, it's not being documented properly. So it's like it's the worst, it's the worst experimental jibby jab trial in history.
It's not. It's dishonest.
It's very dishonest.
It's about as dishonest as when they, at least, no, everyone knew that the Jews didn't come back, so therefore they assumed they must have been killed in Germany, but they didn't know, because no one obviously, unless they worked there, actually went to the camps, because you didn't. And because they disappeared and never were seen again, you assumed that they were killed, but really wasn't.
Yeah, they could have been anywhere. No one knows what happened.
They did, because they dug up the pits. They took all the photos because it was so absolutely shocking that Eisenhower insisted. I think he was the President of the United States, and the whole lot of them went and took the photos to make sure it never happened again, which I'm very grateful for. Because the longer ago it is, the longer past it happens, people tend to think it didn't happen. I know it happened.
Hold up. That's kidneys. So the last one was liver, this one's kidneys. So once again, without any supplements, these are the organs still dealing with capecitabine. Small intestines.
Did my kidneys show up at all on my doctor's visits?
Yeah, so last time the kidney enzymes were a little bit too high. And even last night, it was within range.
That one last night was actually done a week or so ago.
Yeah, okay.
It was done on a Friday more than a week ago, I think.
Yeah.
Because it was done specifically for last Tuesday, and then by last Tuesday I just decided I needed a bit more time off.
Yeah, good.
And rang up and said I needed more time off. I actually said I wanted 3 weeks off. I'm probably getting 2 weeks off. But
Don't start it again until your red hands and feet and mouth are gone. Just don't. Let it heal. Your body's inflamed.
is it?
Yeah, bloody oath it is. What do you think the redness is? Red is inflammation.
I know that the mouth really bothered me.
Is it feeling better?
Look, now is that my biggest mouth? That is stretching it.
Yeah. I'm 100% happy, healthy and well.
Except for my mouth.
I'm 100% happy, healthy and well.
Today they're using your telephone and not having your seatbelts on with spy technology. You can look inside your car to see if you are. We came past the first one of those cars in Bay Desert outside the sawmill today. Even though I never go without a seatbelt.
Yeah.
Because you nearly fell out of the car once. So we were the first people with seats in our back seats in Bay Desert, possibly in Brisbane or Australia, Queensland. Because you opened the door and bloody had a swing on the frigging door when I was driving.
Well, the door could have been locked.
Might well have been. But if you've got 3 kids running around in the back seat with no seatbelts because they didn't have them. Anyway, we had seatbelts after that. You might have been very...
That doesn't seem like a very safe way to get going.
So obviously I am a seatbelt fanatic.
Did you hear about the robots they've been trialling in Singapore? They've got 7 cameras on them, and they just look like these octagonally weird, boxes. But they've got 7 cameras facing in all directions to get rid of anything that is, that gets rid of non-conformity. So It's about keeping an eye out for masks, keeping an eye out for social distancing, keeping an eye out for not putting your bicycle down correctly. Like they actually listed these things that were unsocial, that it was they were being trialled to keep an eye out for.
Does Carmel know about them?
I don't give a shit. She wouldn't care. She's a conformist.
Carmel wouldn't be upset if she thought she was parking the bike properly. You should let them know something that you're about to park the bike properly.
I'm sure she parks her bike properly. It's just more of the same, you know, it's more of the cameras, it's more control, it's more of the fun stuff. Oh well. And somewhere in the world, where was it? They actually
I was
had.
actually game to go to China with you and Jason.
Yeah, right.
I would never have gone by myself.
There was somewhere in the world that is trialing these little head devices that for children in school, and I think it's 12 to 16-year-olds, to see how alert they are. So it's an alertness thing, and their teacher can look in on it and see how the class is going with how alert they are, and the parents can tune in and see how alert they are.
I'd have run
So
away
imagine
if I thought either my parents or my mother was looking into my brain.
Yeah.
Even if it was only for alertness.
And our Australia Post, they've just released these little smart badges that in Australia, I don't know whether it's all over Australia yet or whether it's just coming, but that is then tracked. So it's basically your track and trace in a wearable device that Australia Post employees are going to have to start wearing, that keeps, they are known where they are at all times.
Why? So they don't have a route on the job or something.
I'm sure it's to do with more of the same. World Economic Forum, tracking and tracing, they've been talking about it for, you know.
Did you like the picture of me with the other Joy from the post office?
Yeah, right, yeah. And I'm sure they'll just, you know, but whatever. Anyway.
They probably won't even know what it's for. I mean, they won't. A lot of these things are just, oh, here's a badge, here's your worker badge, just wear it.
Yeah.
I think if they're going to be tracing you, I think you should be told, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's true.
Yeah, so that, yeah, imagine the stress knowing that your parents and teacher are looking at how active your brain is all day long.
I wouldn't wear it. I'd say get a headache. I'd start crying, counting them like pork chops saying you had a headache. I mean,
It's pretty awful.
who are they going to do it to?
Children in school.
Where?
I don't know where it was. It was just something I saw with one of the guys who was talking
I
about.
mean, even if I thought my 12 to 16-year-old or whatever you said was an evil little shit and needed monitoring, I would never approve of that.
Yeah.
Because I know that if my mother or teachers had wanted to do it to me, I would have left home or run away from school.
That's my proteins. And hold.
What are you doing?
Balancing your body to any shedding with the vaccines. So that's just the spike proteins. So your immune system still isn't coping very well with them.
So where do I get them from? Talking to people,
Hugging, talking,
breathing on them.
breathing.
I still reckon it's better than breathing my own breath in again 400 times through a mask. If I'm getting a few pokey things and a few bloody germs, or should up my immunity system.
These all antibodies.
Come on, antibodies, work on it.
No, this is the jab antibodies,
Ah. You
which your body
bastards, piss
definitely doesn't like. Because what they do is they go around gobbling up your white blood cells and poking holes in, you know, your blood-brain barrier and your cardiac sac and your gut lining. So just getting your body to recognise them a bit easier.
So it can shit them out.
Immunal antibodies. And funnily enough, you know, I was listening to Dr. Peter McCullough last night, and he was saying that that the spike proteins are known to go through the intestinal tract, which is why some people with long COVID just continue having gut issues
With long
afterwards.
COVID?
or once they get the Rona and then they're sick,
God.
which is what, so this morning I saw, I shouldn't laugh, but they had a kid like 5 years old, sitting there with a mask and, looking like death warmed up, and they were talking about the dangers of long COVID, because, 5-year-olds are going to get long COVID, douchebags. And yesterday I saw an ad that, so they're preempting, and it said, babies get strokes too. Here's the signs you need to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, 1 in 5 million.
They're coming for babies next year. They're already doing pregnant women and
I can't
breastfeeding
believe
mothers.
I can't believe the pregnant women or breastfeeding mothers would actually be so stupid as to have them.
People are amazingly fearful.
Or,
The media
who
has done
did
a
you
great
tell,
job.
which person in the
There you go.
Rolling Stones or somewhere did you tell me went and had the jabs because his children or his...
Oh, no, that was Eric Clapton.
What's he from?
Is he from Creedence? No. Is he Creedence? Eric Clapton?
God help us if you weren't in the Beatles or Elvis Presley. Mick Jagger was in the Rolling Stones, but don't know who the rest of them were.
Yeah, so Eric Clapton. No. So his kids said that they wouldn't speak to him again, and he just wouldn't get to see them again unless he had the jab. And that was AstraZeneca. And his peripheral neuropathy went from like a 3.5 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10. So he was just he felt like he was just in flames all day, every day with the pain, and nothing helped. And but he already had it, and that's the thing that I'm finding with people who I'm seeing with the side effects of the jibby jabs, is that it's worsening what they've already got. So then he thought, oh well, how much worse can it be? So went and had his second jibby jab, and then that's when he ended up with the paralysis down one side for 3 weeks, couldn't move
Do his children talk
of
to
his
him now?
body. Oh, I'm sure they will. Now he's a genius. He's gone and had the jabs and he's saved their lives, and
Oh, well, I would think that any arsehole with a child that said, I won't talk to him unless you have the jabs. I thought that if you then had a stroke, they might think, well, we're not talking to you, you've had a stroke. Because I would think that children like that won't bloody much of children. That's my humble
the fear
opinion.
is huge, and particularly
What is the
kids
fear
20.
of?
Yeah, but people have been brainwashed for 20 years that this is the most dangerous thing in the world.
People have been brainwashed. Like, I'm sure
And they
that
don't
half
understand
half
natural
the people
immunity.
even your age didn't think they should have children because of such a terrible world was. So obviously the brainwashing that it's a bad world and you don't.
Oh yeah, no, it's been a long haul
But it's
brainwashing.
been lies. I mean, you can have a wonderful life in this world.
Yeah.
Unless you don't want to.
Yeah.
Unless you're mad and you want
Well,
to. Think
Until the last 18 months at least. Anything could happen in the next year or two.
in the last 18 months, if you wanted to have a decent life, even within the restrictions.
You haven't been locked down in Melbourne,
No, I
the
haven't.
most locked down city in the world.
Ever.
Mm.
In the history of the world, I believe. I mean, that.
So no wonder they're up to 90% double jabbed. They've had just the wind knocked out of them. And now they'll pass this legislation, and I'm like, oh my God, they're never going to get rid of Dan. Oh well, there we go.
Sort of someone will shoot him.
Joking. Oh, but it is amazing, the legislation. Like, if it goes through, that will be the most ridiculous thing in the entire world.
Oh, God.
Just totally
You don't
nuts.
think
There
you don't think he'll go and swim out like Harold?
go. I don't think so.
Oh.
He's got plans. Okay, everyone, see you later. Just having some fun.